a very, very warm welcome to everybody joining us today on this very special webinar where we are having a product launch. We are so excited to have everybody here today. So let me quickly bring up the slides.
These slides. Guys, this is such a massive day. We are building history. So as our friend has said, one day you will be having your grandkid on your lap saying that you have been there and you have done that when it was announced. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much for being here. We are honored by your presence.
Yeah, as always, please use the chat to chat amongst your peers throughout the webinar. We're going to be running for the next 1 hour, maybe a little bit over, we'll see. And as always, use the Q&A feature to ask questions, and we will do our best to make sure we answer those questions towards the end of the webinar. If you see some questions in the Q&A that you really like the look of, then make sure you upvote it so it's got the best chance for us to get to it. So a quick round of introductions. So we have myself and Mac here. We are both the directors of product marketing and ECSE. And the real superstars of the show today is Ansi, who is the VP of our products, Miko, who is the VP of our software products, and Bladdy, who is our product director. They're going to be taking us through what is new with this brand new software. And we've got some awesome demos for you. So we can't wait to show you. But first of all, just in case you missed it, whilst we were in the Helsinki office in Finland, we noticed that they had a lot of hammocks hanging around the office, and we were a bit confused as to why they were there. It wasn't until we got back and we realized how many product updates there's been and innovations in the past couple of years. It completely blew our minds. In the last few years, there's been over 50 different product updates and innovations, which is just insane amount of work. So it started to make sense why the hammocks were there, because you guys just must never leave. What do? Just go to the office, work, sleep in the hammock, jump back out, get back on with work. That is just, we couldn't believe it. So we just wanted to say a massive well done and congratulations to the Ekahau team, because that is awesome. But why we are here today, I'm going to let Mac talk to us about.
Thank you very much, Matt. And we really thought that we were masters at sneaking in those little hints here and there. We wanted to hide it very well, but we failed at it. You outsmarted us, you got us properly. So well done to all of you Sherlock Holmeses from around the world. You got our hints and you predicted what's coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to lift the curtain. So we wanted to introduce to you our new smashingly amazing, extraordinary, sexy product. Meet Ekahau AI Pro.
The time for 6 gigahertz is now.
Well, I mean, if we wasn't pumped up and excited before, then I don't know how we're going to contain ourselves. So that was just freaking awesome.
I completely can't contain myself, Matt. Like, I have never been more excited in my life. So it's needless to say that I won't be able to sleep for at least 6 months straight now.
I haven't slept all week. I've been so excited for today and this webinar. But over to Ansi and Miko to formally introduce to you Ekahau AI Pro.
Thank you, guys. Your excitement is very catchy. I'm getting very excited as well here. So we can finally talk about it. This is a huge day. So you know, we've been actually waiting for a while that we can start talking about it. I'm sure this is something that our users have been waiting for a long time. But also, this is an important milestone for the entire team. So someone might remember that we actually talked about this for the first time already 2 years ago, right? There was a Ekahau Wi-Fi Day event in spring 2020. And in that one, we actually made a forecast about Wi-Fi 6E rollout. And I think our assumption back then was that the mass rollout will start in early 2023. And that actually seems to be pretty much right. So we can see the first trials now, and we can see the first access point models in the market. We can see even some first commercial deployments. So I think the release is pretty much on time on here, which is also, of course, very, very exciting that it actually comes directly to a need. Now, the team has been working very hard, but this is not, of course, the only thing we have been working. So as you guys, Mac, you mentioned earlier that we've done a bunch of releases over the past years. To be exact, I think we have released 53 releases over the past 2 years, including 3 new products. So I think that's really amazing achievement from the team, and big kudos to the team for getting all of it done. I think that's an amazing performance. So thank you to the team. Now, let's talk about the features then. You remember last time when you came to our office and I started talking about features, you ran out of battery. So I hope you have a backup now and it's not going to happen again.
We hope so.
Okay, okay, I'm going to go ahead right now. So of course, the first and most important thing, in my opinion, not Mikko's opinion, in my opinion, is the support for 6 gigahertz bandwidth. So basically, here is the support. You can start building those fast, incredibly fast new networks with AI Pro. As we all know, the Wi-Fi can be great every day if it's been designed, built, and maintained correctly. And that's exactly what AI Pro helps you to do. So, and Vladi will show you in a minute exactly how to do that and what kind of features includes. Now we know that with the Wi-Fi 6E also comes with an increased complexity. So there is entirely new frequency band. There are more channels. There are wider channels that can be used, and many other configurations that can be made. And that's why we wanted to bundle into the same release not only the support for the Wi-Fi 6E and 6 gigahertz band, but also important features that make the design process easier and more automated and more straightforward. So the first and most important of these features is the AI Auto Planner. So it is basically an expert system that can run through thousands of iterations in few seconds to place the access points optimally in the floor plan, and also configure them automatically. So this is the first time we're actually introducing AI-based functionality into our products, but this is just the beginning. So there are more and more features coming in the same vein. So this is a promise from the product team to the audience out there. There's more to come. Now, it's not all. This is not everything. There are also many other features we have added to make the process easier and faster and more automated. But Mikko, why don't you talk about those?
Sure. Thank you, Anssi. So AI Auto Planner is about greenfield deployments, but the 6 gig Wi-Fi is not just only about the complete new greenfield deployments. I'm pretty sure that many of are actually thinking that can I just upgrade my existing dual band network to 6 gig dry band, for example. Well, it depends like so many things with Wi-Fi. I'm sure we all know that. In case your existing Wi-Fi network actually has been properly designed, yeah, it is possible that you can use your existing AP locations with the new 6E capable APs, but it is also possible that this will just lead to poorly performing Wi-Fi both on the primary 5 gig band and now also on the new 6 gig band. AI Pro's new network simulator tool gives you the possibility to evaluate your options before you actually make the actual decision to upgrade to 6E Wi-Fi, and you can actually be confident that you are doing the right decision. This is again one of those things that Vlad is going to be demoing in a few minutes.
Yeah, so what was that famous saying from a movie recently where it's with great power comes great responsibility? Well, with great additional 6 gigahertz spectrum comes great complexity. So combining 6 gigahertz with the power of our AI in AI Pro is going to be how we can get awesome Wi-Fi even easier.
And with AI Pro come great designs.
Yeah, exactly. With AI Pro comes great designs. Cool. So actually, you know what? Whilst we were in Helsinki, you weren't too forthcoming with trying to answer some of our questions, you know, and we were trying to get in some of those meeting rooms and you were kicking us out. We wanted to find out some questions and get those answers. And you know what? We thought, what better time to do it on a live webinar and just put you on the spot, because we've got these questions. I know that there's going to be people in the audience wanting to know the same answers. So first of all, to you, Anssi, is AI Pro a free upgrade for all users with a current support subscription?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Another question is for you, Mr. Mikko. If I open up Pro later today, will I get a prompt to download a new version?
Yes, it will. Give us a bit of time. So after the webinar, it will be available.
Amazing.
That is amazing. And then another question for you, Anssi. Does AI Pro support both macOS Monterey and Windows 11?
Yes.
Great.
And the last question for Mikko. Does AI Pro work with the Sidekick?
Absolutely. So answer is yes.
Oh my God. Fantastic.
Great. Cool. So Mac, let's talk about the unlocking that promise of 6 gigahertz. Why don't you cover 2.4 and 5 first?
Sure. So today, we not only need to have more throughput, higher data rates, but we also need to have massively lower latency to support new applications that are coming and becoming more and more popular, like VR or AR. And we also need to cater for voice and video on our daily basis in our lives. So 2.4 gigahertz is quite difficult to achieve all that with all the channel contention happening on that band, because we have just 3 non-overlapping channels. It is better and easier to achieve low contention and low what was the word for it? Low latency on 5 gigahertz, because we have up to 25 non-overlapping channels. And this is still not enough to cater for our needs moving forward. So Matt, tell us why 6 gigahertz is such a massive deal.
Well, I mean, Wi-Fi is now mission critical for most businesses. Nobody wants to connect to their devices by a cable anymore. So businesses run on Wi-Fi, and the amount of Wi-Fi devices out there right now means that the current 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequency band is just getting congested. So why is 6 gigahertz so huge? Because we're getting a huge amount of additional spectrum that we can use. So depending on where you are will depend on how much spectrum you're getting. But here we're talking about we can get up to 59 non-overlapping 20 megahertz wide channels now, which really unlocks the power to, like Max said, to be able to have these VR applications, these voice and video calls running smoothly and flawlessly, because we've got that additional clean new spectrum that we can use. So Vlad, let's talk about AI Pro.
All right, let's do it. And I know that we will be talking a lot about new cool and smart features running under the hood of AI Pro. But one thing I really want to highlight is the overall user experience. So we have studied for now many years the behavior of our users and analyzed that. And now in AI Pro, we have finally putting it all together and introducing new workflows, new workspaces, new functionalities to improve the overall user experience and make the life of our users much, much easier. And of course, there is a multitude of features that simplify the design and validation process. But maybe enough talk, and let me give you just a glimpse of what I mean.
All right, so let's unbox the AI Pro. When you launch the application, you will be faced with the welcoming screen, and here you can create a new project open one from your local drive or from Ekahau Cloud. I have a couple of examples we can use to see all the new layouts and some of the features. So let's open this up. And the first thing you will notice beside the cool new dark theme is that the layouts are different. And we put a lot of emphasis on the usability of the product. And one of the aspects I want to highlight is the new workspaces. So here we have introduced separate workspaces like Design, Inspect, Survey, and Live. And the main point is to separate different functions to these workspaces so it's more intuitive to use. For example, in the Design workspace, the main function is to bring your floor maps in, also define the buildings and draw the walls, as well as define the requirement areas and requirements, and of course set up your and define your wireless network by placing access points or using some automatic tools to do that for you. So that's the main function of the Design workspace, to be able to define your environment. Moving on to the Inspect workspace, the beef of the Inspect workspace is to allow you to analyze your data. What you can do is that you can select any spot on the map and it will immediately highlight to you the connections and what access points are heard from this location. And you will notice also on the right hand side that the values are automatically updated. So all the requirements that I have in my requirement profile are now shown in the list. I can immediately see from the list whether some requirement is met in this selected spot or not. So very handy space to analyze this kind of data. In addition to that, I can also select any spot of my survey path, and that will immediately highlight the spectrum graph from my Sidekick as well as the waterfall graph. I can scroll through these measurements and analyze them separately for these spots, or if I deselect everything, I will see a summary of the whole floor and the requirement area. So I can immediately with one glance analyze whether this requirement area is meeting my requirements or not. If we move on to the survey workspace, this must be familiar to you if you have been using our iOS mobile survey application. So now these spaces are in line with our apps, and you will also find the continuous and stop and go survey capabilities in this space. This is meant for on-site surveys. And the final and most interesting workspace is our live workspace, where the power of Sidekick becomes apparent. So here I have my Sidekick connected. I can see the spectrum real-time view. I can select different access points. I can also view the waterfall graph and switch between the radius view or the channels view. One new cool addition in AI Pro is that you can also now switch between different color schemes for the accessibility reasons. So if you are not able to distinguish some colors, you can always switch to Miami Vice theme to see the colors in this mode. Going back to the design workspace, I want to show you one interesting feature that we added to AI Pro is that here we have a brand new network filter, which allows you not only to filter out a custom access point group, but you can also filter out any network or all your networks you choose. So very powerful tool to filtering out your access points and viewing different heat maps. You can also define custom access point group. For example, you can choose the access points here on the east side of the office, and by right-clicking on the list and marking them with some color like orange, I can create this custom group and it automatically becomes part of the filter. So very powerful tool to select different groups and analyze your heat maps.
So this is just a small example of the new stuff we have implemented, and you will find many more positive surprises once you start using the AI Pro. So very proud of this.
Oh, Vlad, there is so much goodness there. First of all, dark mode. Hello, who doesn't love dark mode? Every time I've opened up AI Pro, it puts a smile on my face from ear to ear. I absolutely love the dark mode. It looks amazing. And also the dedicated workspaces now for your specific project task and needs. That is really, you can tell how much thought went behind that with the team for our users. But wow, the power of the psychic and the live view, being able to see that beautiful high resolution spectrum data. Oh, and the new feature about being able to choose your own color scheme for the spectrum. I think we can all guess what's going to be my new default. I love that Miami Vice color scheme.
And if you need to have more proof that we both love the Miami color scheme, just look at our backgrounds. Guys, like every time I switch to Miami Vice color scheme, I want to cry from happiness.
All right. Wow, that was amazing, Vlad. But I think we've got to talk about AI Auto Planner now.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to ask something from you, Matt and Mac. What do you think? What are the most tedious and kind of this boring tasks you have to deal with when designing wireless networks? Is there something like that in your life?
I see what's happening here, Mac. They want to get their revenge and put us on the spot live on the webinar now. Then fine, fair enough. For me personally, what I think is going to be one of the, sometimes the most challenging, especially if you're quite new to Wi-Fi or even been working in Wi-Fi for a long time, is coming up with those positions of the access points in the right locations with the right configurations, right first time. And especially if you're working on a multi-floor project, that can be really time consuming and quite daunting if you're fairly new to Wi-Fi, to make sure you design a high performing wireless network. So that's what I think, Vlad.
Oh, well, for that purpose, we actually, I think, found a small part of the Holy Grail. Well, at least I hope that that's the case. So now we are able to run AI Auto Planner for your designs, and the AI Auto Planner actually runs thousands of iterations on all three bands, including 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz, and it looks at the optimal locations for your APs, taking into account the specifics of your environment, like the walls, the hallways, the room sizes, etc. So it looks at the holistic site as a optimization target, and the results are really amazing. And of course, AI Auto Planner has also another part, which is our channel planner. It has been completely redone, so it's completely new algorithm that is superior, which takes the client perspective into account, and it of course also is aimed at all three bands. All is aimed at enabling you to do the 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi plans. But maybe it's time we take AI Auto Planner for a small spin around the house. How about that?
Let's now see how AI Auto Planner runs in action. So in this example, I have a 3-floor building. So I have main hall, then floor 1 and floor 2. And I have already defined my requirement areas and requirements for them. So here you can see a requirement area selected with Ekahau best practices applied. I have also some drywalls, some windows and doors, etc. defined. So my environment is all set. The only thing is missing is my wireless network. And the fastest and easiest way to design it is actually to use help of AI Auto Planner. And you can find AI Auto Planner from Actions menu as a first selection. When you fire it up, you will see that you can select desired AP model for your plan from 1,000 of access points that we support. In this case, I will use Meraki MR57, which is a 6 gigahertz capable access point. So we're now designing for 6 GHz in this plan. I could start the planning process already, but I want to show you first some of the advanced options. So what you can choose in addition to access point model, you can, for example, define transmit power for each of the bands or select antenna height that you will use. You can also check that all the requirement areas and floors are included in your plan, because the AI auto planner not only runs on single floor, but it optimizes the plan for the whole building. In addition to that, you can optimize with capacity or for mobile devices. And actually, the new channel planner is also part of AI auto planner. It's a completely new algorithm which provides you with the optimal channel plans. So, for example, you probably will be always using channels 1, 6, and 11 on 2.4 gigahertz. But for the other bands, you can select any bandwidth and channels you like, as well as for the 6 gigahertz band. Just make sure you have a proper regulatory domain selected so you have the right channels available for you. In addition, you can also configure your network for capacity, for example, by choosing the minimum data rate or number of SSIDs per radio. In this instance, I will not change any of these settings. I just want my 6 gigahertz network to be planned automatically. So I click create and see what happens. What's going on? It's that AI Auto Planner is now placing access points on all of my floors and trying to find optimal locations for them, as well as optimal channel configurations for all 3 bands, for 2.4, for 5, and for 6. So that's a lot of work, but as you can see, it's already deploying the plan, and voila, here it's ready. Just a couple of minutes and your brand new plan is complete. But now we actually need to analyze the results. We need to check what kind of a job the AI Auto Planner did. So we can see from the summary bar that our network health is at 99% pass rate for 2.4, 99 for 5 gigahertz, and 98 for 6 gigahertz. So extremely promising results. And this is a result of almost 5,000 iterations that AI Auto Planner run on this building. And in total, it resulted in 33 APs. We can check the details to see how these APs are distributed. So for each floor, you can see a breakdown. So you have 11 APs for each floor. And on all floors, the network health pass rate is almost 100%. So extremely good results from AI Auto Planner. But let's not stop here. Let's go to the inspect mode and look at different bands. So currently we have a 5 gigahertz band selected. And here on the right hand side, you can see a requirement pass rate for each of my requirements, including primary and secondary signal strength, as well as SNR, data rate, and channel interference. So it's almost 100%. So this is very good plan indeed, or a starting point at least for your plan. Now let's look at the 6 gigahertz band, how the AI Auto Planner performed there. And the story is almost exactly the same, or it's almost 100% for all my requirements, also on 6 gigahertz band. Let's quickly look at the 2.4, same story here. So as you can see, in just a couple of minutes, we created a wireless network plan that already meets all my requirements, which otherwise, even for a 3-story building, could take hours even to design this. And of course, you can still manually in design mode, for example, you can go ahead and change any of the access point locations, but the hard lifting has been already done for you. So I'm pretty excited about these features and I hope you enjoy them.
So basically we want to leave only the fun stuff to the users and let the machine do the tedious part basically.
Yeah, I mean, Vlad, I mean, whoa, wow, that was amazing. And first of all, that wasn't a matter of minutes, that was seconds to run 5,000 different iterations and come up with an awesome Wi-Fi design across multiple floors. I mean, I can't even fathom how long that would take me to do that. So to be able to do that, it's simply click of the button is just amazing. This really is going to be giving our users the most valuable currency of all, which is time that you can spend working on other tasks, other projects, you know, making your jobs easier, making Wi-Fi more amazing. So this really blew my mind, and this is one of my favorite, most cool new superpowers that we get with AI Pro. So yeah, I totally love this one.
Totally same here. And if it saves you time, it also earns you more money. And my favorite thing now is the new channel planner that plans from the client's perspective, which is absolutely awesome. So well done, team. And thanks, Vlad, for showing it to us.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like that was a 3-floor building, right? Imagine if you're designing for 10 floors, 20 floors, 30 floors, how much time that would take you. But you can simply do it in the sheer click of a few buttons to give you that amazing high-performing wireless network design. I mean, wow.
And remember, Matt, this is not only for greenfield planning, so not only for clean slate designs, but also you can use it to estimate upgrading your network and see what if you redesign your whole network, what it will achieve. So you can use it almost any time.
Amazing. And we've got something else that we really are really excited to talk about, which is our new feature, the automatic wall calibration. So Vlad, over to you to take it away, my friend.
Yeah, you know that we always say that Sidekick accuracy is superior, and now we're building on top of it even more and introducing automatic wall calibration, which you can take your Sidekick measurements and improve the quality of your physical environment definition. So take your plan and take your existing walls with default values, and with the super accurate measurements, you can actually make this environment even more corresponding to the real site. And whenever you create simulation on top of this improved plan, they are spot on when you actually deploy the network. But maybe it's a good idea at this point to take a look how it actually works. So let's look at wall calibration.
So now we have added a very nice ability to use your super accurate Sidekick measurements to calibrate your walls and make your physical environment definition correspond to the real site as closely as possible. So how does this work? So in this example, I have a set of walls already defined. So I have, for example, this drywall with 3.0 dB attenuation value. I have some cinder brick walls, I have some interior windows, etc. So these are default values, but now what I can do, I can actually improve and calibrate them by using the measurements from the survey on this site. And from practical perspective, you think that, well, default values are good for simulating things, but in reality, if you have a drywall and there is some other material, for example, in between, your simulations will not be accurate. So we can improve the situation and use wall attenuation for that. So let's see how it works. We go to Actions menu, we choose a wall calibration function, and now we can see that it actually analyzes the measurements from your survey pass with Sidekick, and it proposes changes to the default values of different materials. So for example, for thin door, we have for 2.4 gigahertz band, we have a suggested change from 2 dB to 3.5 dB, and there are also suggested changes for other bands. And here the quality indicator actually means that we have a good or very high confidence level that this change actually will improve definition of your environment. That's because of the Sidekick providing many measurement points, and we can actually say that this change will be a good thing for your environment. So I can apply these changes one by one, or I can apply them all from here. And what will happen after I apply these changes is that when I select some wall material, for example, this window, I will see that now it has the calibrated value based on my measurements here. And the end result is that whenever you do a simulation or other action on top of this environment, it will be much more accurate and correspond much more closely to the reality than the default setup. So very handy feature to improve accuracy of your simulations.
And as you noticed, the wall calibration proposes values for each of the bands for 2.4, 5, and 6. So you now know why we call it AI Auto Planner. A lot of AI going on under the hood, right?
Of course. And guys, this is such a massive deal. I'm not sure about you, but every time I go to the site and measure wall attenuation multiple times for multiple types of walls, I'm a little bit bored. And not only this will give us better accuracy, but also it saves us massive amount of time. So it's not only time saving, but it's also extremely easy to use. So all it takes is just to go to the site, ensure that you have Wi-Fi coverage in the area that you want to measure walls attenuation of. It can be the AP on a stick, or it can be a brownfield Wi-Fi, and walk on both sides of all the walls that you want to measure attenuation of. And then you can let the AI Pro do all the maths and heavy lifting for you. How amazing is that?
This is a game changer. This feature is amazing. Taking the guesswork out of what is behind the walls. How many I can guarantee most of the audience, if not all of the audience, has gone on site at some point and they've walked up to a wall and they've knocked on a wall and they're trying to work out, is this hollow? Is this hard? Is this drywall? Is this drywall hiding a brick? And we no longer have to worry about that guesswork. We can know for sure with the power of AI and the Sidekick to be able to tell us this information. I mean, if I had a hat on right now, I'd be taking it off for you and the rest of the team, because this feature has completely blew us away. It is awesome. So amazing. Well done, guys. This is such a fabulous feature. And like Max said, it's going to save our users so much time that they can focus on doing other things, working on more projects, getting back to doing the fun tasks when it comes to the Wi-Fi project work. So yeah, love it, Vlad. Well done, man.
Same. I said it will be 6 months, sleepless nights for me from all that excitement, but now it has increased to at least 12.
Yeah, I cannot wait to start using this even more now. And Vlad, am I right in thinking that this isn't just applicable for new surveys? This is if you've done any previous surveys with a Sidekick, you can put those simulated walls on top of it and then get that data as well.
That's exactly the case. So you need just the measurement data from your site. Is it all data? It doesn't matter. Do you create walls on top of that, or do you have walls before that? It doesn't matter. The wall calibration always works, and you can always improve quality of your environment. So,
wow, mind is just like completely blown. And specifying different values for the different frequency bands as well. Awesome work, team.
And one thing I want to, just before we go forward, just one thing I want to mention, that if you conduct AP on the stick surveys on your site, so for example, if you cover only 30% of your site with this AP on a stick surveys, that will work as well with wall calibration. So please enjoy the feature.
And also, if you have tri-band AP, so 4, 5, and 6, and you take your measurements on 3 bands, then you will have the walls attenuation calculated for you on all of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Vlad, I'm almost a little bit shocked here that there's more goodness, even more new features. I mean, I'm blown away by all of the new ones already, but how is there more features, Vlad? What is this network simulator?
Why stop once we started? Why stop now, right? Let's continue the pipe. So let's give it all. Well, so the next one is the network simulator, and what we already saw how you can create plans automatically with AI Auto Planner, but that's not all. We want to also introduce a new feature called network simulator, which actually enables you to create multiple scenarios, especially when you're considering to upgrade your current network, for example, with some other AP models, upgrading to 6 gigahertz network, how it will behave. For example, if you have not well-performing Wi-Fi, we'll just simply replacing your AP models with 6 gigahertz capable AP solve the issues. For that, you can use network simulator to look what will happen when you do that rip and replace scenario. And basically what I want to show you now is to jump into demo and see how the network simulator does the trick. Network simulator is a very handy tool to build multiple scenarios and test whether replacing your current access points with some other AP model, for example, 6 gigahertz capable access point, will actually improve quality of your network, or whether some other action is required to improve your Wi-Fi. So here I have an example of a plan where you can clearly see these gray areas, meaning that my requirements are not met for the signal strength in these areas. And what I want to test is replace these current access points with 6 gigahertz capable APs and see whether the situation will improve or not. First, what I want to do is make sure that the network simulator is available. For that, I go to File, Preferences, and check that Enable Beta Features is on. This means that because a network simulator is still a beta feature, it needs to be enabled there. And now you can see that Actions menu has an option to choose network simulator. So if you launch that, you will see a dialog where you can select your current access point model. Currently, I have Ruckus APs, and I need to select the exact model to be replaced. So I know that is this one, 7363. And now I select the target access points, which will be used as the replacement. And I want to use a Cisco AP for that. I will use this access point, which is 6 gigahertz capable, so this C9136i. And now I will run the simulation and see what happens. So what the network simulator is doing right now, it goes through all my floors and replaces my current access points with the selected Cisco access point. So after the so-called rip and replace scenario is complete, I can see the results of this replacement, and I can analyze the changes. Basically, the changes from my original situation to the replacement scenario. And what I can see already from the summary bar is that actually my network health got worse by this replacement. So I can also expand the details and see that well, at least on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands, on all floors but one, the network health got worse with this replacement. And of course, because I didn't have in my original scenario any 6 gigahertz capable APs, I can see that still the network health results for 6 gigahertz are not great if I use the same AP locations. The beautiful thing about network simulator is you can always go back to the original data. So you can always use the network filter and again select all my networks, and you can see that your
original data, your original access points are still here. So they are not lost or gone anywhere. Another thing you can do is you can run multiple simulations. So I will go now again to Network Simulator, select my current access point model, and now I want to replace it with something else. I want to replace it with Aruba access points, also 6 GHz capable, but I want to compare this several scenarios. So let me just find a proper Aruba access point. So I will use this AP635 from Aruba to replace my current access point. So let's simulate and see what happens. And the process goes again. So running through the floors and replacing access points with another AP model. And after the simulation is complete, I can again observe and analyze the results. So let's just wait for a minute, and here we go. So it seems that it's performed a little better, but still, for most cases, I see that my network health percentage pass rate is still very low. So again, looking at the details, yes, on a couple of floors, the network health got a bit better, but still for many bands and many floors, the situation got worse. So if I want to analyze it, this scenarios in depth, I can go to inspect mode, and here from the right hand side you can compare the metrics for different scenarios. So currently I have this replacement scenario with Aruba, and I can still choose the Cisco replacement scenario and see how did it manage. And also, of course, I can compare it to my original network health, and I need to choose the right bands always. So for example, for 5 GHz band, I can compare metrics for different scenarios as well. So what's the lesson here is that simply replacing your access points with another model, even 6 GHz capable, will not necessarily solve your Wi-Fi issues, but some redesigning and real Wi-Fi design is required. So I hope you get the gist of the game with the network simulator, and also combining it with the channel planner and AI auto planner. You see that in AI Pro you can build any scenario that for new designs or for existing network upgrades, and you can compare and make informed decisions and smart investment decisions as well.
Vlad, there is some seriously cool magic going on under the hood with that new feature. I have no idea how you guys have done it, but to be able to simulate and see that sort of information is so critical and key for our users. We know the main reason why most Wi-Fi networks are not great is because they never had a proper design done, or they never had a redesign done when it came to the upgrade lifecycle of their project, and they thought that just ripping out old access points and keeping their existing locations and just replacing them with a new vendor and a new model AP would solve their Wi-Fi issues to meet today's requirements for the Wi-Fi performance, which we just know isn't the case. So this feature really can save our users so much time, but not only time, but money, by not just investing in new access points without having a proper design done. And it gives our users the power and the confidence to be able to simulate and show it. So this is amazing.
And also, if you have existing network 2.4 and 5 GHz enabled, and you might think that just rip and replace with 6 GHz enabled tri-band APs might fix your issues, you can simulate it without actually doing it, and saving you disappointment and money, and highlighting that you might actually require a new design.
So Vladdy, another feature we got to talk about as well. So over to you.
Yeah, it's a never-ending pipe of features. So let's look at the next one. Ekahau is known for beautiful and accurate heat maps, of course. So we are building on top of that once more and adding a reflections and diffractions feature to the accuracy setting of our our tools. So basically, this is especially useful for complex environments, like, for example, some warehouses and places where you have different materials like or reflecting materials like glass or metal, etc. So giving more accuracy and ability to set the environment for what you exactly need is what we are achieving with this. But now I will show you how to turn on reflections and diffractions in AI Pro. So let's check it out.
We want our simulations to be as accurate as possible, and for that purpose we have now developed a new visualization accuracy settings which accounts for reflections and diffractions. This is especially useful in complex environments like this warehouse, where you have many features like this behind the corner areas, some shelves, some pillars maybe. So let's look how it works. Let's place an access point in this hallway, and we can see that I actually have a coverage gap here behind the corner, and if I move the access point around, it doesn't really help. So what I can do, I can actually now check my visualization accuracy settings by going to the bottom right, opening the menu, and I can see that currently my accuracy is set to high, and this setting doesn't account for the reflections and diffractions effect. What I can do, I can drag this to maximum, and now the calculations are run again, and now the reflections and diffractions are accounted for. So looking at the same corner area, you can see now that this is actually now covered. So if I move the access point a bit, you can see that the calculations take a bit more time, but also the heat map is now a bit different. So reflections and diffractions effect is very useful when you have complex environments, but for most cases where you have white spaces and less features, high accuracy is more than sufficient, and you can also notice that the updating of the heat map is faster with this setting.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg of all the features we have here, but I hope you already have a holistic picture of what we are bringing up. Big things.
Vlad, 18 months no sleep for me now, because diffractions and reflections incorporated into predicting our coverage is a massive thing. So guys, if you have difficult environments, tons of surfaces like metal or glass, this will help you out. So we've talked about how it can improve your accuracy, but let's spend just 10 seconds and talk about what a diffraction and reflection is. So reflection, guys, is like a ping pong, where the signal is being reflected from a reflective surface. And diffraction is where a signal is bending behind the obstacle. So let's say if you place an access point close to a column and you predict its coverage in typical high accuracy view, you will see that there might be lack of coverage behind that column. But when you enable reflections and diffractions view, max a view on, you will see that that might not exactly be the case, and you might still have coverage behind that column, behind that corner. So it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and not only do our products support 6 gigahertz, but the best in the industry, Wi-Fi training, ECSE design now also covers 6 gigahertz and teaches you using all of the latest features that you have seen in AI Pro. So if you want to learn the complexities of 6 gigahertz, get yourselves booked onto an up and coming ECSE design course. From next week onwards, we'll be using the brand new AI Pro software covering 6 gigahertz to demystify those challenging new requirements that additional spectrum brings us. I'm Vlad.
Yeah, basically I wanted to say that in our teams, we believe in power of giving, and that we are always super happy to bring new or have a chance to bring new useful features to the market. And I want to use this opportunity to say huge thanks to all of our customers, because without your input, this would not have been possible. We are super eager to hear always the feedback and implement it. So big thanks. And this free upgrade is waiting for you very soon, already today. So get ready.
Yeah, and just quickly to add as well, Ekahau recognizes that Cisco DNA Center as a very important tool for many of our customers. We have been integrating with Cisco DNAC for a long time, and we'll continue that integration with Ekahau AI Pro. We're in the final stages of testing, and the integration will go live soon. If you are not a part of the Ekahau family and you have been blown away by what you have seen today, just how like me and Mac have, and you want to become a part of the Ekahau family, then just whip out your phone, scan that QR code, or head over to that URL, ekahau.com/how to buy, and you can come and join us. So Mac, why don't we just very quickly try and summarize and recap all of the new things that we went through today. So first of all, AI Auto Planner saves users time and money by automatically creating a high-performing Wi-Fi network design in a click of just a few buttons.
Inspect mode, it's a new workspace where you can inspect any spot on your map from either a predictive design or a validation survey and see if it meets your clearly defined Wi-Fi project requirements.
Yeah, and Channel Planner, ensuring your Wi-Fi designs or your deployments have the minimal amount of channel overlap as possible.
And Network Simulator, you might check without actually doing it if a rip and replace scenario with newer model of the access point will actually help you out or not. Typically, if your design was bad to begin with, you can simulate it and prove it that your network does require a redesign.
Absolutely. And then automatic wall calibration, no more manual wall attenuation measurements, saving you time and money on site with the power of the Sidekick combined with AI Pro.
Reflections and diffractions, making your visualizations more accurate, your predictive model better. You can use it especially with a huge success in more demanding environments, warehouses, in industrial spaces where you have tons of reflective materials like metal and glass, for example, and you will be able to see that bending behind effect and how it affects your Wi-Fi.
Oh, and by the way, there's more that we just wouldn't have time to cover today. So if you want to find out more, you're going to have to go and download yourself and see those additional other features. But really just want to say a huge thank you to the product team and all of our amazing webinar audience. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Miko and Nancy, let's bring you guys back as well. And perhaps we might have a question or two in the Q&A that we can answer quickly.
Guys, we really hope that you will have your brains smashed as much as we had ours when we started using the new product. Using AI Pro is slick, it's amazing. We really, truly hope that you will love it as much as we do.
Absolutely. So in the Q&A, have we got any questions that we want to just answer quickly? Oh, there's Miko, here he comes, and Nancy.
Oh. Mika, where have you been? Actually, you don't have to answer that. So looking at Q&A, Stu, do you have anything for us?
Well, you know what? I've been going like crazy answering all these Q&A questions.
What do you mean? You've just answered 74 questions.
74. Totally. But and thanks to the other folks on the line as well as who answered some of them. We had a lot of great interest, especially on the AI and the compatibility of working with older project files. That seems to be kind of one of the key ones. And yes, and I know I can answer this one is yes, your projects are fully compatible from the old. So when you're migrating from your old projects to your new one, yes, Ekahau AI Pro will open all of those old project files. And yes, one of the cool things was we can read. You got that Sidekick data, you can use it today in that inspect mode, see all that cool data. It's going to migrate over. You're going to be able to see that in AI Pro. One of the things I think maybe this is a good one for you, Vlad, is we had some great questions on the walls attenuation. I know you covered it in this last segment there, but one of the questions was, you know, in the future, can Ekahau AI Pro also detect the walls within the correct attenuation from a site survey measurements and draw them in the plan without having to do this? So I think maybe this is kind of forward thinking, like automatically draw walls after Sidekick data, but I don't know. I think I don't want to put
Yes,
you on the
that's
spot.
extremely good point. And of course, we would like to do that. It's not yet in AI Pro. We're not still like drawing the walls based on the measurements. But of course, if you have the walls drawn already, we will adjust them so they correspond to the real environment really well. So basically, the calibration, wall calibration will do the trick for you in that instance.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Well, like we said earlier, if you fire up Ekahau Pro today, and you will see that prompt to be able to download that brand new AI Pro for free. Let us know what is your favorite feature when you start to use the product. You can tweet me or Mac or at the Ekahau Twitter handle. We can't wait to see all of your guys and girls' feedback of using our new project. So I just want to say a huge thank you to our amazing Ekahau team today and our unbelievable webinar audience. You are all so great, and thank you so much for being here. Any final closing thoughts from you, Anssi or
Yes,
Mika? You want to say
guys, without you, without our clients, we wouldn't have been here. So we are truly grateful for you, for your feedback and for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But you guys realize that me and Mikko didn't actually do anything. It was, we have other team who do the development.
Come on now.
But we're happy to take the credit though.
Always, that's my thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone. And we will all see you on the next one.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.